Good afternoon. At least it's afternoon where I am. Welcome to the Grow Like a Mother podcast. Today I am with Marika, and I'm really excited to speak with her. She's a shamanic oracle and a solar dragon princess, and I can't wait to dive into what those mean. But first, I'm going to introduce you to her work. It's dedicated to guiding women toward the profound realization that they're the authors of their own lives. Marika's purpose as a shamanic oracle and priestess is to guide and empower women on a life-altering journey of self-discovery, inner healing, and the reclamation of their authentic power. She acts as a guide, supporting them in reconnecting with their inner wisdom, intuition, and the profound strength that resides within. Today, we're going to be talking about using crystals to expand our conscious awareness and about spiritual connection and all things woo. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. I love talking to people with these special skill sets and gifts. And I'm curious to know, were you always magical and spiritual in this way? Is it something that developed? How did you become aware of this sort of calling and get into this work?
Yeah, it actually started at a really early age for me. I can't uh, put out the exact year that or how old I was, but I always remember feeling like I sensed things, I saw things, I heard things that for me was really natural. So I, in a way, grew up thinking, oh, everybody's, seeing these things and when I started talking about them, I was like, oh, okay, nobody else sees them. So yeah, it was then I was starting to realize, okay, there's something here, maybe not everyone, you know, sees. And the other thing that I clearly remember is I loved being at home because at home I felt good because I was in my own energy and my family's energies. But as soon as we went somewhere, to the city, to the grocery store, anywhere where there were people, I was starting to feel bad. I got headaches, I got mood swings, I got aches and pains in different parts of my body, and I was like, what is this? And it's just my ability and sensibility to catch up what's happening in other people's energy fields. So that's when it all started. And growing up, it was a bit confusing because at that time when I was a child, this wasn't things that you would talk about.
Yeah.
That yeah. So I was really alone, and the first part of my growing up, like the teens, I actually felt really misplaced and had a really hard time fitting in. So, and I was also bullied, heavily bullied under from first to seventh grade, which made me feel even more insecure and I don't belong here. And yeah, so by the time I think about around 13, 14, I decided to this is not for me. So I shut off all my gifts, put them on hold, and tried to live like a normal life. And that backfired many times. And God is watching over us and wanting us to be on the path that is meant for us. So he firmly but lovingly put me back on the right path after a couple of years.
Wow, that's I can only imagine. And now kids growing up now may have less judgment about it, right? Because I think that it's more in main culture, but certainly, where did you grow up?
In Finland.
In Finland. Okay. I can't speak for
Yeah.
that because I'm in Canada, but I think that it was similar in that, a couple decades ago, we didn't have the tools, the words, and the openness around topics like this. And now you do everywhere. And I'm really conscious of trying to talk to my kids in terms that can give them language around these things in case like they're small, but in case that they have these gifts too. And I don't want to shut those down on them, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. I love hearing that because I have a daughter as well. She's 9 years old now, and this has I that was my one of my like biggest decision, that everything is needs to be talked about and to be open and to make it as natural as possible. So we have been talking about angels and the energy world and everything from the beginning. So she is really, to her, it is the natural world. And she has abilities, but it's not my place to know exactly where they are going to lead her. But I just want to make her feel comfortable that she can grow in whatever way she wants to. So it just feel supported.
Yeah, that's so important. Tell me a little bit about this shamanic oracle title that is so powerful and has so much meaning behind it, but my listeners might not really know what the heck that means. Can you break that down into sort of average language so that we can understand what the gifts are and what the abilities are that you have?
Yes, I can try and do that. And every shaman and oracle or shamanic oracle, of course, have their own medicine and their own way of working. And my medicine is to to really go deep with, especially women. I do have men also, but because of what I've been through in my life, I find that people that are looking for my help have been in similar situations. And with my shamanic gifts, we go really deep on both soul level and cell level. With it's both the body and the mind and the energy fields. So I am there as a channel and a guide, finding where people have like blockages, traumas, where they have given away their power, for example, and just starting to see what is it that we are working with, and why are we in a situation that we don't want? What is keeping us there? So then it's like guiding them to finding the places, finding the spots that they want to have some transformation in. And a lot of the magic happens, of course, in a session. I do shamanic healing sessions and have mentorships, but that is also, you have to be prepared and you have to take responsibility for your own healing, because the work that I do is like a catalyst, or the starting point, because then what you need to work on starts to rise, and it's your responsibility to then work with it from there.
And it's kind of, when you put it like that, it's very similar to anything else. You go to the gym and you have a personal trainer who can be the catalyst and give you some tools and ideas and things to start with, but you're the one who has to physically do the exercises. So it sounds like the same with the healing. When people come to you and you open up their eyes, so to speak, in terms of
Mm.
awareness of what's happening,
Yeah.
where blockages are, how they can proceed. But a lot of the work then comes down to, you refer to it as the inner work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. And I mean, even though we have all the power inside of us and we have all the answers and solutions, sometimes we are just so blocked that we need help. We need somebody to dig down with us, dig deep. And that's where I, as a shamanic oracle, comes, that's my place to open up and to bring the awareness to what is going on and what needs to be shifted as well.
And what kind of,
And there's a lot of yeah, sorry.
go ahead, you go ahead.
Because it's often so many things that we don't even are aware about, like in a bit unfair heritage from our ancestors. We carry a lot from our ancestors that is actually not belonging to us, but when we have it on us, it really affects our lives. And a lot of false programming. just how we have been brought up. Like we talked that the support for me wasn't there when I was a child, so I grew up thinking that there's something wrong with me. And there's so many programmings, false programming out there. So people, I find it's often people are really, really lost. They are so far away from their soul and essence that they don't know. They're just, floating around and feeling that there's something really wrong, but they can't, grasp it.
Mm-hmm. I feel that so deeply, and I think that you're right. We've sort of lost touch with our soul, and it's not something that's talked about, certainly not programmed in with most families. And we do the work now in our mid years and our later years, to rediscover that, and it can change your whole life. And for me, when I was learning about energy work, when I was learning about just all the things that might be commonplace in your world and my world now, it's like it took me a long time to understand, like, what is energy and how can my ancestors' wounds still be in my DNA? And it was just so foreign. The whole idea, everything about it was like, I believe it and I want to know more. But my brain was stuck so much in like 3D, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why I love having these conversations on the podcast, to sort of chip away at people's curiosities, right? They might not understand fully everything that you're offering today, but it might pique an interest, or it might, like layer on top pieces of understanding of how to maybe look at life, and how you're feeling and what your body is telling you in different ways, you know? Um,
Yeah.
what kind of tools do you recommend to people, or do you use that they can use in addition to like the mind energy work? Like, are there any physical things, like crystals is something that I know that we wanted to touch on. How do those
Yeah.
help support people? And are there any other tools like that that you recommend?
Crystal, I think, is a really easy and good way to support your inner work. Uh, I feel also that it's good to mention, like with everything, like different kind of tools, they are there to support us. They are there in addition. You should never rely on one thing or think, okay, I'm gonna buy these crystals, they're gonna fix it, because you are gonna get disappointed. But having the right, mindset with the crystals, they are absolutely golden in helping you in your inner work, because they you can feel into what it is you need. If it's love, do you need to start loving yourself? Do you need help on releasing something that doesn't do you any good anymore? What is it that you feel? And then find the frequency in the crystal and just have it with you and let it work its magic that way. And I use crystals a lot. I use them in my one-on-one sessions, and I do, if I get guided to recommend some crystals to take home, I do that. But like I said, I love them, but they should be used in the right way.
Yes, absolutely. And how do we know, like, which ones are right for us? How do we start to investigate? Is it a feeling when you go and you look for some and you just intuitively know, or are there some that are better for things than others, that are sort of like the go-to, like the beginner version?
I love it because the best way, if you have an opportunity to go to a crystal store or somewhere where they sell, that you are there and you let your intuition guide you. That's the best way, because the crystal that you might feel you need today might be another one tomorrow or next week. But so when you choose a crystal with your intuition, that is a crystal for the here and now,
Mm.
and that speaks to you. So that I think is the most beautiful way, but that you don't always have the opportunity to be. Maybe you order online, or you just feel you need support. Then you can always read about the crystals what they do and what their properties are and choose by that. But always feel into it, even though you read about a crystal, that not to get too hooked up on what the properties are. And, feel into your heart, is this for me or not?
Right. I have a whole bunch of crystals and I don't know what they do. But what I'll do is when I'm starting, when I'm starting a podcast or when I'm having a bath or whatever, when I feel called to use them, I just sort of look at them all and pass my hand over and I think like, well, which one wants to come with me? Like which one wants to be in my purse throughout the day and which one wants to be at work. And so I think if for me, letting go of the perfection in it, like I want to be the student and I want to get it right. But being able to just sort of feel, that's a really good way to practice tuning into your intuition as well, because that can serve you. And
Yeah.
can you talk to us a little bit about intuition and like women's intuition, mother's intuition, and how that is just so important for us to start paying attention to?
Yeah. Intuition is actually, that is I would say, the most beautiful and important part of us to live a life in alignment with our soul, because that is actually our soul talking and guiding us. And with all of these blockages and false programming and everything that we are, getting onto in our lives, our intuition can get really blocked as well. We all have it. I mean, people say, I don't have an intuition. I can't feel anything, but everybody has it. And it's in a way, it is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets really weak.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you use it, it gets stronger and stronger, and it starts to open even more. So if you feel that you are lacking your intuition, you don't have a connection, just start using it. And just, you don't have to make the biggest life decisions, try to practice with small. What kind of color clothes do I want to wear today? Pick and choose between foods, different small things. But then you start to realize that, okay, the first thing that you feel is your intuition. As soon as you have a thought, then you have moved out of intuition and up to your head.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is something that learned me, coming back to this, that my intuition, that's a feeling. It feels in my guts, in my heart, in my body in some way, but it's not a thought.
Right. It's in your body, it's not in your head. And I think we need to start moving more to listening to what our body tells us. And it can be as simple as like hunger cues, right? When you can do intuitive
Yeah.
eating, like what kind of food is your body asking for? Like, does it need water or does it need protein? Like, if you can start there, um, that's a really good, that's a really good practice because building that muscle, as you said, can really the shifts that you see in your life when you're able to know and trust your intuition are incredible, right?
Yes. And that is one of the most beautiful things in the healings, when we peel away these layers of that people have been building up, these blockages and programming, and they, for the first time, they see and feel themselves and their intuition. And the courage and the self-confidence that starts to rise. There's nothing more beautiful than that.
I love it. I love everything about this. I'm suspecting that the listeners who have made it to the end and are open to these ideas and inspired are dying to know how they can work with you. Can you share with us? I know you have Instagram, and I'll make sure I put all of the links in the show notes, but how do we move on from here? How do we continue the conversation with you?
Yeah, so you can, if you want to talk more about it, you just can, for example, book a call with me and just talk and see if this is something that fits you. And then I have a mentorship program. I have a 3 month or a 6 month. The 6 month is really beautiful because then we can go really, really deep. And that is a program with shamanic healings and coaching calls and full support for the whole 6 months. where we actually, like I said, we go really deep into the core of you and helping you peel off all those false layers and getting to know you and yeah, letting you rise again, rise in your power and your femininity, your creative power, everything that is you. So that is one of my signature program is the 6 months mentorship.
I love that. And I think that that amount of time dedicated to yourself and your healing and your discovery of yourself is such a gift that you can give to yourself, right? So definitely
Yeah,
encourage everyone to go to the website, look at the offerings, book a call, and just get curious, if nothing else.
exactly. Just talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, be open. So thank you so much for coming on today. It's been really wonderful to hear your wisdom and learn from you. And it's just such a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love this conversation.